Okay, 7.8 is just writing the equation for cubic functions. They will either give you a graph or they'll tell you the zeros. And so the first thing, like if they give you a graph, is you have to identify what the zeros are, or the x-intercepts. I have 3 of them. What are they?
-4, 1, and 3.
Perfect. So, when you're writing this, well, my suggestion would be to write it in factored form first. The only difference is that they do not give you the leading coefficient, like they're asking you to solve for it. So, I'm going to write this as y equals, I'm going to put an a out in front, then I'm going to put it into factored form. So x plus 4, x minus 1, x minus 3. Then it gives you another ordered pair, and it wants you to use that ordered pair to solve for my leading coefficient. Okay, so I'm going to use this. This is just another ordered pair, and I'm going to plug these in for x comma y. So everywhere I see an x, I'm going to put a 0, and everywhere I see a y, I'm going to put a -6, and the goal is to solve for this a. I don't know what that number is. So I'm going to plug in -6 equals a, 0 plus 4, 0 minus 1, 0 minus 3. And if you know it's 0, then you can just, honestly, you can skip a step and write it like this. Then I'm going to multiply these numbers. So -6 equals 3 times 4 is 12, so 12a. So a equals what? -1/2. Now, depending on what the problem asks you, and you know you're probably going to be asked to write it in standard form because your math teacher hates you, then I'm going to write it as factored form first, so -1/2 x plus 4, x minus 1, x minus 3. This would be factored form. Then if you had to multiply them out, that would be standard form. So standard. We'll do standard on the next one. Okay, so once you get to this factored form point, I always leave this for last. So don't try to do that first. So I normally will start with these two. So 1/2, I just bring it down. X squared minus 2x plus x, so minus x minus 2. Bring the 1/2 down. Do it again. So x cubed minus 3x squared minus x squared plus 3x. Oh, I didn't stack it. Should I stack?
Yes.
Let's stack. And then minus 2x plus 6. So when I add the stacks, x cubed minus 4x squared plus x plus 6, then I distribute. Lastly, minus 2x squared so this would be my final answer in standard. So I could say leave it in factored, or I could ask you to do it in standard form. So 3 is a little different because it only gives you the ordered pairs, but I need to identify which ones are my x-intercepts. Where the 0 is first or last? Last. And 3 of them are the same and 1 is different, so it's easy to pick out which one is different. So my factored form, x plus 2, x plus 1, x minus 2. Then I plug in -8. Because when you have an x-intercept, you write the x value first and then 0, because it has a y value 0. And then a y-intercept has 0 first. So if you think about plotting that on a graph, 0, -8 would be down here. And then -2, 0 would be here. -1, 0 would be here. 2, 0 would be here. As long as you end up with the final answer.